thoroughly no idea what you're talking about. Good now, revolutionaries, and welcome to the Rise Up Morning Show. Happy the day after St. Patrick's Day. So glad to be here with you. Tuesday, March 18th. We're getting cold and taking skinny pictures.
Okay, anyway, listen, you can't take the layers off because that defeats the purpose. I need you as bundled up as possible, and I need you to, I don't know, help me push a 1,200-pound transmission across the tarmac and then push it back, and we're just going to do laps shoving this behemoth on this thing, and it's going to be 110 degrees outside, and you're going to pass out in 30 seconds. Don't come for me.
Yeah, sounds like a good time.
This is the show where we start with no context, but then we bring lots of context to answer your crypto questions, to talk about the news of the day, share helpful commentary, and help you get a handle around this space that sometimes feels like drinking from a fire hose. So let us know if you've got a crypto question. We're here Monday through Thursday, 7 a.m. Central Standard Time. Get a coffee, a beverage of choice, wake up with us, or lay down to sleep with us, depending on where you are. Whenever you listen, it's time to rise up.
Lay down to sleep with us.
You know.
Is that how you get people close so you can pinch them?
No. Will, I don't know if you've noticed. Well, I'm sure you've noticed, but Evan's been just getting slightly more.
He's just super horny
with the ways that he tells people to join the just.
I have not. Have I?
He's got this big dial of sensuality. Let's say it's got 100 notches, and he started off at like a solid 15, and he's just been inching that bad boy up over the last couple of months. He's at a firm like 60% sensual, and I think he just turned that dial up to 70.
Firm 60% sensual. That's not a sentence I thought I would hear. Come for me.
I will. I'll be back on the show tomorrow, maybe with like my chest hair out, some sunglasses, and like some like keyboard music in the background. Like, hey, baby, I'll show you. I'll show you. We can take it.
Good. Yeah, crank that up to like 85. Let's see how sensual can it be. Well, I mean, it's markets are red, so we got to keep our audience entertained.
William in the audience says, "I want to see 100%." Listen, man, you never go full sensual.
You never go
full sensual. So
don't go full.
Certainly not at 7 a.m. in the morning.
Having a lot of baby oil in your house, and then the feds swat you, and then you end up just becoming Diddy. That's what happened. We don't want that. That's 100%.
I changed my mind about attending today's show. Maybe I will skip it after all.
No, we're glad you're here because today we have got to talk about the Solana commercial. It's me says, what is happening in the market? And honestly, what's happening in the market right now is that the markets are bleeding. Things are rough. Crypto is experiencing a lot of pain while we wait for policy, because it's probably going to take Congress a minute to start turning around some helpful policy that will stimulate the markets in a meaningful, sustained way. And so for now, we have things like Crypto Twitter, Crypto the Game, our silly shows, those kind of things in the crypto space to keep us entertained. This is I don't know about you guys, but this is my favorite time to be paying attention, because this is when the best stuff happens. You can't make this stuff up. We can talk about the crypto.com vote because we teased it yesterday. We said they were considering this proposal to pull 70 million tokens they'd removed from circulation into the supply again. And
that's what they did. Right. I was like, we talked about that yesterday.
This is the time. If you want to be in crypto, you want to be a crypto investor, you want to make money here, you want to work here, this is the time to be paying attention, because a lot of people who are only interested when the price is up, they're not the ones who are going to make the money here. You can just, Alex, are you scuba diving?
Right? It sounded like he's underwater.
Dude. Oh my God. He drove off a bridge.
Oh man.
I wanted to try and see if headphones work, but there's too much background noise, so I got to go back.
Okay. You guys would agree though, right? Like, this is the time when all the shenanigans happen. This is the time when the heroes and villains emerge, the cool tech emerges, and you can spot the stuff that's going to change the game in a good way or a bad way. Exactly.
I'm back.
Exactly.
Okay. What do you say? No more ado. Should I just play this commercial with a little context?
Yeah, a little context.
Okay.
Commercial.
Too long. Don't play the whole thing.
Don't play the whole thing. It's like 2 minutes and 30 seconds, and I will give colorful commentary the whole time. So if you miss this, yesterday, the story of what happened is this. We can cut it off. If there's a time you want to cut it, you just tell me to cut it. But I've got screen shares at the ready. So yesterday, who released it? Was it the official Solana account, or was it?
It was off of Solana's account, was my understanding.
The Solana Foundation, Helios Foundation, somebody? Alex,
No,
do you happen to know?
Yes, it was the big at Solana, the big Bertha.
The Big Bertha, an account with 1 million followers, and everybody is watching.
Have you watched the whole thing?
Oh, I've watched the whole thing, and I've
Yeah.
watched all the commentary about it. My favorite
It's
tweet.
interesting that they pissed off literally everyone.
Literally everyone. Somebody on the
Everybody.
timeline said, I have never seen the timeline united over anything so much as hating this Solana commercial. And
Yep.
and the context for this is, Coinbase has these commercials that they do where it's like it's time to flip the system. They're arguably great commercials. Like, they have good story, they're appealing, they're simple to understand, and they're crypto. It's exactly the kind of thing we need. And Base has this slogan, Base is for everybody. And meanwhile, Solana's been reintroducing this slogan, Solana is for everybody. They're trying to they're trying to do something here. I'm just not sure what it is. For TikTok, you're just going to get the audio.
We know
if
what it
you're
is
on-
now.
Yeah,
Well,
if you're on-
I'm gonna share the screen.
Okay, great. I've got the screen share up, and my personal favorite tweet is accompanying this video. I'm gonna pull it up here.
So, America, what's going on?
Well, lately, I've been having thoughts.
And for context, this is a guy sitting in a therapist office, white guy who looks like he was cast by a B-rate casting company. No shade to this guy, but he's not the guy I would cast as America in this commercial. Sitting across from a white psychiatrist, looks like in her home. Okay, it's important that you know they're white just for the context of the commercial.
Once again,
What thoughts?
about innovation, multi-planetary travel, nuclear energy, crypto, AI, things that push the limits of human potential.
What you're experiencing is called rational thinking syndrome. Why don't we take this energy and channel it into something more productive, like coming up with a new gender?
But that's not going to stop me thinking about innovating and doing something.
Innovating, doing, these are action words, verbs. Why don't we focus on pronouns?
That's not going to help.
I sense some cynicism. Have you been betrayed in the past?
I used to think the media was my friend. Can I even trust them anymore?
Of course.
It says you can trust the
Say
media.
That's a biased take.
This one says we aren't biased.
I got canceled for saying 2 + 2 is 4.
Have you ever considered that math,
I actually enjoyed that one part.
America, numbers are non-binary? We've been conditioned to believe that 2 + 2 is 4. It's a societal construct.
It's literally math.
Or is it a dominant narrative? Have you been practicing state
I also
perspective
laughed at that.
as we talked about?
I did too. That was a good one.
Yeah. I've debanked some crypto founders and I've slowed down nuclear reactor approvals. And depending on my state of mind, I change the SEC guidelines, but I don't like it.
If we don't regulate, how will we
Where'd they
create
get this
jobs
guy
for
from?
people who work hard to make businesses slow?
This
You know
is
what?
Joker arc.
Hard work, innovation, rational thinking, it's in my blood. It's who I am. Railroads, factories, automobiles. I built the future once, and I won't be left behind now. I will lead the world in permissionless tech, build on chain, and reclaim my place as the beacon of innovation. I want to invent technologies, not genders.
Lovely. So glad you were able to get some of that negative emotion out. Sounds like we'll need a few more sessions. When can I see
love
you
it.
next?
You're fired.
And then the rock music.
America is back. It's time to accelerate, brother. So anyway, at the very end, you can see speakers from Capitol Hill. It's a commercial for a conference. Okay. You can tell that they thought that video absolutely ate, but what do you think?
Slayed.
They thought it slayed, and I really do got to give it to that guy. He was earnest. He was very earnest. I don't know why they cast him, but this reaction sums up what I think. Then I want to know what you think. He says, "Don't want to overreact, but everyone involved in this, from conception and script development to the final release, including pre-production, production, post-production, and distribution of this cringe dog shit, should commit ritual, yada yada, on camera and use that as the ad instead. At least then we could be confident that there are people with brains involved in Solana's identity. You dorks." This is the response. What was your response to this commercial when you saw it, or did you see the response first and then the commercial?
Well, I went
I
on
saw the-
Twitter and I went on Twitter and I saw everybody be like, Solana commercial, Solana commercial. And after I saw like the second or third tweet, I was like, well, time to go to Reddit. What was the Solana commercial? And then I saw it and I was like, oh, that's what it costs Solana to be in the digital asset reserve stockpile.
Dude,
I go, oh, okay. There it is.
Machinery said the commercial your parents make and think is cool.
That's also true.
Yeah.
Will,
They've
your mic
been-
is uncrispy. Crispy yourself, my brother. Go ahead, Alex.
They've been flirting like with this for a while, and I think they got some like light engagement boost from, you know, like hinting that this was a narrative they wanted to push, or at least somebody was interested in pursuing for the last little bit, like making jokes and a couple memes. And so they were like, hey, why not turn this shit up to 11? And, you know, to be very honest, I don't know. It takes a lot to make me think that like one video could be just so egregiously bad. This was fucking terrible. And like you said, the unifying theme here is that everybody hates it, except for right after it came out. So if we look at right after it came out, there was a huge handful of the most bootlicky of bootlickers who were just like, this is amazing. And they all tweeted support of it. And multiple Solana related personnel also tweeted support of it, obviously as part of some sort of coordinated effort to push this thing out. And then it just ran into this brick wall of hatred from everybody. And so, okay, how long did it last? It lasted a couple hours and the foundation deletes it. They delete the video. And then all of a sudden, everyone who was tweeting support of it starts deleting those tweets, and they start retweeting the takes like the one that you just read, Evan, with people who are just like, this is awful. This is so terrible. And then you see people like Mert post, hey, I have an idea to get SIMD 228 to pass. Delete the ad and try it again. And you've got Tolly out here just like retweeting everything and publicly lambasting the ad. And I'm like, I can't even begin to fathom that this thing posted without your knowledge. There's like no.
Yeah, no, it absolutely has to be no way.
Yeah,
So-
something that big, totally.
And there's only really one acceptable response from this. I should say there's two. There's two that I would like be able to be like, oh, okay. One is double down. Nope,
Yep.
I refuse.
Yep.
This is the identity. Like it or fuck off. And the other one is, guys, we fucked up. Not this like, oh yeah, I hate it too. What a bad idea. Who did that now? It's like, this is absolutely fucking pathetic.
Yeah. What I enjoyed was
last cherry on top, Will. The one thing that I have seen a couple times, and I do want to acknowledge, because I do believe there's validity in this. I recognize that everybody's talking about it. I'm not saying that it was an ineffective ad in the sense that it's created attention and buzz and all this kind of stuff. I mean, Evan and I were together in Prague watching a panel of speakers on stage tell us all how terribly ineffective the Jaguar rebrand was, not realizing that they were a panel of people on stage at a conference talking about an ad. So I completely agree with the idea that, like, hey, even if something goes south, everyone is talking about it.
Totally.
The ad was effective. I'm really not interested in arguing that, because I agree with it, to be very honest with you. But the message that something sends about the culture that you as a brand are trying to perpetuate, that's the part. So I'm not arguing that it was not effective. I'm arguing that it was fucking terrible. That's what I'm arguing.
Will, what'd you take?
I don't care if the commercial was good or bad or not. What I care about is the unity of Twitter across all political sides and just straight influencers and like engineers. Because like, you either hate it because it wasn't the political take that you like, or you hate it because it was the political take that you like, but Solana took it down and didn't stand their ground, or you hate it because in the crypto space, and this is the larger group of people, you're like, guys, we're here trying to like onboard the masses, like not politicize stuff and only like, and try to alienate like half of the population with political ideas. Like, what are you doing? Like, that's not what crypto's about. Crypto's for everybody, built by the people, for the people, managed and governed by the people, kind of a thing. And you had those three groups, and it was just so nice to see my entire Twitter timeline, which is usually just a cesspool of garbage with some useful information put in between, just like united together, being like, I hate you now. In the short term, Solana, I now hate you. But I was curious to see if this had like a bigger impact on Solana's price, but it's hard to tell. I was kind of hoping Bitcoin would remain like flat today, or even go a little bit upwards to see if like Solana was down 3% or something. It's down 3.5% right now, but Bitcoin is also down 1.5%. So it's just the market doing market things.
I think the space is mostly gonna forget about it if they just shut up about it.
If they shut up about it, the space will totally forget about it. And then I bet they release another commercial at some point where it's just like, we are here and we're fast and you can use us for payments and and people will be like, good job.
The take I saw on it that resonates with exactly what you said is somebody said something like, let me see if I can find it. They said, generally speaking, people in crypto, in our industry, they feel like any unnecessary polarization is like an impediment to doing business. Like if you're going to show up to the meeting and just not be happy to be here, easy to work with, then what are you doing in crypto? And also we hate virtue signaling, like just declaring a value for the sake of declaring a value that isn't an authentic part of like who you are, that's extraneous to what you do, is seen as like really cringe here. People don't want that. And something that's just, interesting is I don't know. I think it's a common sentiment to have right now. I was not aware that the like Rust language apparently has a really rich history of like very like gender fluid programmers. I say gender fluid. I mean programmers at all places on the gender spectrum. They made gender a real issue, and we don't have to go there. But the community that made Solana what it is today is populated by a lot of people who are like, would say, I am non-binary, or I am a trans person. And I saw a tweet that was really funny. That's like, the odds that Solana gets hacked by a cracked trans Rust developer just went up 100x. It's like,
but see, none of that is even the point. Like you said, so Will, like you said, right? Polarizing this industry is the last thing we need.
The last fucking thing.
Really, truly the last. No. And I can't stress enough, for anyone curious about whether or not like hardcore aligning with either side of the aisle is good or bad for crypto, and curious, it's bad, and I don't care which side of the aisle you're talking about.
100%. Even if you're in my camp or his camp or her camp or whatever, we're
here to try to help everybody.
It doesn't matter. It really, truly doesn't matter. If what you're trying to sell as an idea is decentralized protocols, censorship resistant protocols, and then the idea is to take a centralized entity and slap an aggressive polarization on it, you're shooting yourself in both feet, which is just stupid. And you have to think long term. We keep this is my big problem with crypto is the attention span of a methed out goldfish, is that we can't think long term about anything. So if you let's take the government that you've got right now, right? Very, very, very divisive, hard on one side, and you've got friendly crypto attitudes. So that's exciting, right? What happens in 4 years if it doesn't go their way again? You've now created this aggressively divided talking point with cryptocurrency. And so now you've got an incoming administration on the other side of the aisle who's just like, well, day one, let's drop 400 executive orders and, we're definitely get rid of all that crypto shit. And then you just tank the industry again. Now what you've done is pull us out of what we were, which was hated by all and yet still building and working because in the face of adversity. We have been faced with nothing but hostility from the government for the entire industry's lifespan. And look where we are. We made $100,000 Bitcoin from half a penny. Like, all these things happened. Now you want to add politics to that? When have politicians ever made anything better? Ever. I'll wait.
You want to know what this will do, though, is this will save the 4-year cycle, because instead of the Bitcoin halving, it'll just be whenever the opposite side's party, just goes back and forth and flips potentially every 4 years.
Yeah.
Yes, the 4-year cycle. But instead of like a 1-year bear market, it'll be a 4-year bear market, and then a 4-year bull market.
Oh my God.
I get that you're being funny, but it would be worse than any bear market anyone's ever seen. All I'm gonna say.
If you're one of the folks in chat, go ahead.
That's where all the money's made. Yeah.
That's right. That's where the money's made. You're not
The
wrong
worse
about
the bear
that.
market, the more money that's made.
If you're just getting here and you're like, what the heck are we talking about? I just want to catch you up to say Solana said, hold my beer, and released one of the worst commercials that we've ever seen in terms of, just didn't resonate with the crypto space. Everyone lambasted them for it. We screened the commercial. You can just do a Google for it or look it up on Twitter. They have since taken it down pretty sheepishly and quietly, which is the number one thing in the playbook to do if you want to make sure absolutely everybody sees it. But the TLDR is this person says, feels like Solana tried to fork Base's ad playbook. Crypto is for everybody, with the vibes of Cardano directing.
Nice.
Which I thought was pretty excellent. And
Nice.
regarding what you just said, Alex, I saw a tweet from, I don't know, David Phelps. He's an interesting commentator, founder in the space, who has just some really smart thoughts about solutions you might build. But he had a great meme of like this, like cool looking muscular guy, and on the top it was like, decentralized, open source, not political, anti-government, and then on the bottom this like stick figure looking guy, and it was like, buy our token, governments, we'd rather have USD, whatever, like what the space used to be and what the space has become. I think there's this kind of sentiment among.
Yes.
Go ahead.
No, there's a lot of iterations of that cartoon,
Right.
with a bunch of like hyper jacked characters on top, just being like old school Bitcoin, exactly all of the labels that you just said. And then the bottom is, just like the kind of classic, like brain dead, drooling, barely conscious little gremlin creature that's just like, please, Daddy Warbucks, buy my token. I have nothing else.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's the weird thing, is that like, and I'm seeing a lot of this on the timeline too, is people who work in crypto are kind of upset at everybody who really, really wants the government here. Like, it's not that we're sad about adoption. And I say I'm kind of in this camp of, it's how I feel about Coinbase. Honestly, I am so glad and grateful for everything Coinbase does to make education accessible, to keep people safe, to offer simple solutions that make it easy for a person to practice self-custody, whatever. Like, they do a lot of good stuff. I am also concerned that would be where somebody stops their crypto journey at like, here, Coinbase, have my crypto. You know what I mean? Like, that's not why crypto was invented. That's not why we came here. We came here for freedom. And there was the obvious politicization of Coinbase's involvement through Stand With Crypto, which was a great initiative. Totally.
I had some feedback for the way that they set up their resources. It's the short-sightedness. That's really the part that just really deeply upsets me, is the fact that people who think that what they want is to like protect the sanctity of the industry, and in reality what they're doing is building a centralized company and just wanting to play the classic capitalist corporate CEO game. And that's not what we're here for. Like, I thought that we were kind of all here because we were like, hey, you know what? You know who's just been absolutely screwing the pooch forever in the money game? The government. Let's do like something else. And if you want the perfect scenario about how the government does get involved, it's aggressively being uninvolved. Like, that was the problem beforehand. You had all these rules that were meant to make it difficult for anyone to build any of this software or use any of this technology or use their money in any of the ways that they wanted to with this kind of stuff. And ideally, which I hear before I say it, I know that this was like, the longest of long shots ever. The ideal world, like a government that truly wanted to be pro crypto, would just be like, hey guys, we see you doing this thing. It's not our business to tell you what to do with all of your dollars and your technology and all this kind of stuff. Don't break any laws, don't sell children on the Silk Road, but build blockchains and do this. We're just going to be out of the way. Okay, let's fix the tax thing because you guys are getting double taxed, and that's just, anyone should be able to look at that and say that's not fair.
Sure.
Okay, and now we're going to fuck right off. And instead it's like, let's get our little greedy, grubby paws into every nook and cranny of this entire industry and just turn it on its head. And also we're going to use it to grift campaign contributions.
Yes.
Anything else?
Nope. That's
The works.
that's what crypto was created for.
Yep.
But I mean, like we
Smash
all knew this was going to happen. I think we all kind of knew that this decentralized space that we were building, you're going to have some of it not be decentralized. And the beautiful thing about it, though, is that there will always be pieces that are totally decentralized, right?
Well,
So,
here's the thing. Here's where I would say, yes, you're right. Always have known that there was going to be centralization and the difference, and all we wanted was open communication about what exactly you're staring down the barrel of. The problem is that we are very rapidly building a world where with the help of the government, turning this into a place where yet again, big corporations are going to be the ones that get to succeed and small business gets choked out. And here, small business is decentralized and big business is not. And we're just doing the classic same old playbook over again. And it's just bad. Everyone should be bearish about it. In case you're wondering what I've been grumpy about for the past year, it's this.
Well, here's I'm going to try to give you a silver lining to hang on to in this dark hole, because I agree with you that
Thanks, Will.
this is the worst version. But what that silver lining is because you'll have solutions that are made that are decentralized. You can't just have these corporations use their typical playbook of just buying them, dismantling them, and taking little bits and pieces of technology and people and incorporating it into their business. The decentralized solutions will always be out there. And if there's a competitive advantage in a free market, will earn some kind of market share and potentially even dominant market share in certain markets. So it's, if you're the current playbook is a little dystopian, but you can't do that same playbook here, even if you try to.
I agree the game has changed.
Not to the full
But
extent.
the people playing the money side are very good at figuring out how to win whatever game they're faced with.
That they are. They're very good at that.
We don't have to keep belaboring this forever because I could complain about this literally until I pass out. But in response to
Are you on
Eddie's
a
question,
tarmac wearing a full suit in 100-degree weather, pushing a 1,200-pound engine across? No, it is. Sorry.
No, Will. I used to do manual labor in that setting all day, every day.
What is this manual labor you speak of? Do you do it on a boat?
Make your closing thought then, and I'll because I'm going to play one last commercial to cleanse our palate, and then we can
have done
switch.
it on the boat. Evan, if you play a crypto.com commercial, I swear to
I
God,
would
I'm gonna lose.
never. The first thing I said to Alex when I saw the commercial was, did they get the people from crypto.com's marketing department to direct this? Because man,
Dude, even
I don't
they
know.
would not do that.
I said
They're
on Twitter,
very
I said this commercial is clear proof that they are paying someone way too much and paying us not enough. You know what
No,
I mean?
yeah.
Like, come on, man. We're right here.
Crypto.com goes down a very different but equally as cringy path.
Yeah, they need to be. I don't know. There are so many good crypto commercials. I want to play one, but I want to give you your thought, Alex.
Yeah, I'll make my cherry this. In answer to your question, Eddie, from the chat here, how do we fix this? There are two things that we have in our power to at least work on. I'm not saying that this would unequivocally succeed and we could turn the whole thing around overnight, but this is what you do if you really care. And I mean that with the full brunt of what I said. If
Full
you really
chest.
care, if you really care, this is what you do. You use the voice that you have because it matters to support the stuff that matters in this industry. All of the things that are good, even if they're not your favorite protocol, even if it's not your favorite blockchain, if someone is doing something that upholds the ethos of this industry, the reason that it was founded, all of this stuff, you support those people. You support people who are building, and I don't mean just go ape into their tokens. Okay. I mean, like, retweet them. I mean, give them your attention, sit down and learn from them. Watch the video, take some time to learn about something, invest in something that you can afford to invest in. Recognizing that right now, you know, maybe it's harder to look at it as investing because I think that we're kind of playing a losing game with, you know, small business, truly utilitarian token applications. I mean, they're just not getting the attention they deserve, and they're getting absolutely skewered in favor of a couple big things that managed to buy their way into Liberty Financial's wallet or something.
Yeah.
So as a creator, cover that shit. I can't begin to tell you how aggressively upset I am opening crypto Twitter and just seeing all of these prominent KOLs and voices and quote unquote thought leaders, barf, posting like a desire to get back to utility, a desire to
Yes, right. Oh
Like,
my god, I'm
and
so
then
glad
not-
you touched on that.
oh my God, it drives me absolutely bonkers every day that I open it up and I see 400 tweets with crazy engagement. It's like, guys, I'm sick of the memes. Let's talk about real builders. Let's get back to real utility. And then guess what that's followed up with? Just that tweet recycled for the next 6 weeks. Do they ever actually go find someone building something cool and talk about them? No, of course not, because they don't know shit about this industry. They just blow smoke straight out of their ass all day long and pretend to be thought leaders, and it drives me insane. So content creators, I'm talking to you, cover the good shit. Okay, quit peddling conspiracy theories, quit supporting and doing what you think is going to get the most engagement to just talk about the big fancy whatever you think Barron Trump is going to ape into on his 21st birthday or whatever the fuck, and talk about something that actually matters. Teach somebody something relevant, and then cover something that you could look at and be like, well, this is kind of boring. Maybe this video is not going to get great engagement, but you know what? It's important. Talk about that kind of stuff. And then as viewers, watch that stuff. Learn about the stuff that matters. Learn about what all this shit is. If you have an influencer that you're following that you could sit down and be like, hey, could you describe to me 2 different consensus mechanisms and how they differ from each other? And they can't do it, just unfollow that person and move on. They have nothing to offer you. And I mean that again with my full chest. I'm so sick and tired of people who've been here creating content for years and have never sat down to crack a book. So that's what you do.
Mhm.
Shout out to those people though. Like, there are a lot of good people who are creating great content or who are building cool things, but we always need more because the other stuff is accelerating.
I was also so tempted, Alex, as you went on that very, very meaningful, genuinely helpful, rant for the space, to also type in, is there a Solana commercial meme coin?
Dude, I saw a
Solana
screenshot of the commercial where the guy was like, full rant, and the screen grab was like something about, I don't want to focus on genders, and the caption was, the ticker is genders.
Yes. Yeah. The ticker is genders.
Yeah.
How much is this meme worth?
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to play one quick commercial to cleanse the palate, because I don't know if you saw this, but the Base team, Mike, if you're still on the show, I got to know, was the marketing team just ready to deploy? Almost everybody I know from Base's marketing team tweeted a commercial that was wholesome, easy to understand, didn't use any technical language, and made everybody feel like they were part of the crypto story. This is a 1-minute commercial. This is just a quick example to cleanse your palate of, like, how to tell a story. Here we go. Watch this.
Crypto wasn't for him. He dealt the classics. Low miles, big blocks and bench seats, hidden gems in dusty barns, diamonds in the rough. He'd take fixer-uppers and turn them into daily drivers. But when it came time to make a sale, there were no easy options. He never could figure out why wire transfers took so long. Banks were never open when he needed them. And cash could be a challenge in a place like this. So when a repeat buyer mentioned another option, he listened. Just a simple transfer, secure, like a digital handshake.
So good.
Crypto
The
wasn't
yodeling.
until it was.
Not the yodeling.
Crypto wasn't for him until it was, and like a digital handshake. Like, how good is that? And like the visuals are simple. I think the script is maybe a little heavy-handed, and it's their 1 minute commercial. You know, the 30-second version is probably crisper, briefer. But I mean, like, Coinbase has got banger after banger after banger like this. It's not political. They've got one with, you know, people who live in the United States, people who are women, people who are black, people who are white, people who, you know, whoever you are, whatever you look like or believe, they've got a commercial with somebody who looks like you in your situation using crypto, so that if you've ever said, oh, crypto's not for me, and then you see yourself in a commercial like this, you know, like if you're a tumbleweed state rancher and this is you, you know, or whatever, you're like, oh yeah, been there, done that, feels like my life, so relatable, give me your crypto. Like,
Also, look at this company in crypto actually spreading a message to regular retail people, and not just this Twitter circle jerk of people in the Web3 industry just splooging all over each other.
Solomon says they could have used a kid with a lemonade stand, and I got to tell you,
They
that's the
could have
division.
actually. They have a commercial with a kid in a lemonade stand.
Do they?
I'm like nearly 100% positive they do.
Of course they do. That's not surprising to me at all.
I'm pretty sure they do.
Okay, so we will post more about this in the Discord server. If this is you know, you missed the commercial that we aired at the beginning, we'll put up the Solana commercial. We'll put up some maybe golden commentary and one or two of these Coinbase examples, just so you can get caught up on it. And then you know, go watch a content creator who's telling a better story. Somebody shouted you out, Cosmic, on the YouTube stream. They said if you haven't seen the latest Cosmic crypto junk, it's good. So
We talking
next,
about
I
Crow?
think, what?
Talking about what?
Talking about Crow. Talking about
Crow.
practice. Yes.
Fight like a crow. Go! Yeah.
Okay, crypto.com. Mike asked us about it. Mike, if you want to come up, feel free to. Yesterday, we told you this news story that crypto.com had a vote open. They were considering releasing 70 million tokens that they burned in 2021 into circulation in advance of an ETF coming out, possibly to back this ETF with. The comment window was 2 weeks. Go ahead.
Isn't it billion? Was it billion or million?
I thought it was, yeah, billion. Excuse me.
70
Did I say
billion.
million?
Billion.
Well, billion with a B, not million with an M. 70 billion tokens. And I don't know what percentage of their supply that represents, but it's not an insignificant sum. Like this is a significant amount of tokens. And we talked about this yesterday because burning is something that people ask us about a lot on the show. What is burning a crypto token? I thought they don't physically exist. Burning is just sending tokens to a wallet that supposedly nobody has the private key for. This is the problem, though. When somebody says, trust me, bro, I burned these tokens, you are trusting them to have destroyed the information, the private key, that will allow them to access this crypto. And as you can clearly see, first of all, they didn't burn those tokens because they still have access to this key, but they had a vote. Crow holders could participate in this vote on whether or not they should release these tokens back into circulation. And for the 2-week voting period, it looked like they were going to not be able to pass this thing. And then yesterday at midnight hour, 3.35 billion Crow tokens were added to the yes, we should do this category, pushing the vote well over the top. Like 61% voted yes. And the problem is that most of these votes came from a couple of validators, 70 to 80% of the total voting power, according to 3 separate sources, large validators operated by crypto.com. Okay. So
Hell
crypto.com has a vote, says, hey, what do you guys think? And then at the very end, when the vote isn't going the way they want, crypto.com shows up to the party and is like, we forgot to vote, boys. It's like that scene in Mr. Deeds when he shows up to the board meeting and he's like, oh, I forgot I have, 500 shares or whatever,
Guys, remember, we're decentralized.
Exactly.
We're built on the blockchain. So it's all good. Don't worry. This was fair.
So the stage is now clear with this vote passed for the Kronos blockchain to do an upgrade tomorrow that will mint 70 billion new tokens. They're going to leave the burned ones where they are, but they're going to mint 70 billion new ones, and they will vest them on a 5-year schedule and use them for a variety of functions, including the seeding of a potential CRO ETF. So if you're bullish on Crow, this is a story you want to follow. People think it's a real spit in the face of Crow holders, and I'm curious to know what you guys think. Go ahead. Oh, it gets worse?
Yes, it got worse. So in answer to Jason's question, yes, they're not changing the chain. They're not rolling it back. They're just straight up making new ones.
Yeah, they're just minting new ones. Yeah, which is
Yeah.
They're just like, hey, remember that burn? Turns out it doesn't mean shit. We're
Yeah.
just going to make shit. So yeah, I mean, first of all, this sets an awful precedent for on-chain governance. It's truly terrible, and it's the reason that you should never trust centralized entities like this to run a blockchain, because anytime that their back gets pushed up against a wall, they're gonna just rig the game in their favor.
Yeah.
This is honestly, like, I'm extra saucy today. This is what I'm talking about. This is bullshit.
Well, this is why it's good that Base doesn't have a token, for example.
yes.
Yeah, this is straight horseshit. There's no other way to say it. What do I mean by it gets worse? Right after this bullshit vote gets shoehorned through, thanks to Crypto.com rigging the vote in the favor that they wanted. The best tweet that I saw was someone reposting this like Twitter poll of this thing, like, what color Lamborghini should the founder buy, purple or yellow? And then purple's winning by like 90%. And then the founder tweets, but I like yellow. And then all of a sudden the thing gets switched. And we just buy the yellow one anyway. It's like, that's the same energy. So right after this, they immediately introduce a new proposal, which voting is live for the next 2 weeks, to reburn 50 million of these new 70 billion tokens. So it's like, hey guys, we're going to just real quick undo this bananas huge burn and give ourselves all these tokens back. And don't give me any bullshit about it being a 5-year vesting schedule. Whatever. I don't give two shits. I lost all my respect. But it's okay, guys. That's like saying, hey, we lost some money and we need some back. I'm going to write myself a check really quick for $10 billion. But don't worry, I'm going to donate $20 to this kid's charity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's okay.
People often ask us about that, though, about burning tokens and about when it can be good or when it can be bad. And a lot of the time in the show, we say, it's like a gimmick. And this is a real good example of how at its gimmickiest burning tokens work, especially if you're a centralized company. What's your take, Will?
I don't have anything to add. I mean, like, to me, here's the thing. If Chrono or Crow was an altcoin for a decentralized solution, that usage would just plummet. Their revenue would drop. People would leave the coin and be pissed off. But because that coin gives you reduction of trading fees on Crypto.com, pretty sure it does. It's just copied BNB. People will still go and buy Chrono just to have a tiny bit enough to get reduced trading fees on Crypto.com. So if that's your, cryptocurrency exchange of choice, and they keep getting business, then they don't give a flying fuck about what you think about their tokenomics and what the Web3 really thinks about them. They just care. They know they have that safety net. They know that whatever they do from a bad PR standpoint, people are still going to get the token because they want cheaper trading fees on Crypto.com, and none of it matters.
Yeah. It's like a hostage situation. Go ahead, Alex.
Yeah.
The impetus for doing this is to qualify for an ETF. That's what they want. They want a Crow ETF.
Yeah.
So again, we've got these billion-dollar companies being run by these absolute Neanderthals who can't look past the end of their own nose when it comes to doing things that are good for even just their ecosystem. Let's even give them not the benefit of the doubt, whatever the opposite of that is, and be like, okay, we know you guys are corrupt and you're just trying to stack the deck in your favor. You think this is going to work out the way you want? You're going to piss off your entire holder base. You're going to significantly impact your business model as a company, according to what we all thought. And what, you're going to vest all these tokens to yourself so that you think you can sell them to the ETF provider. So you think that this is going to make you enough money on the back end by getting, so it makes me think two things. It makes me think, one, the ETF game is stacked because they already know they're going to get approved for something eventually.
Totally.
And because otherwise, why would you roll the dice on this? Why would you take that chance if you did not know that you were going to get the ETF?
Especially because and I get that the precedent may be kind of out the window because we've got a different SEC, there's a new sheriff in town, but one of the criteria that has been kind of used in the past is how decentralized is this thing? Is this behaving like a commodity would behave? Is there enough of a community that there's not a central authority that would influence this thing in a way that would make the ETF not a sound choice? It like
Well, here's also
how
something.
centralized can you get? Go ahead.
Here's also something that you do if you continuously do stuff that gives you bad PR. And also, if you look at the price of Crow, it's horrific. The price appreciation, the chart of Crow is awful. If you become an ETF, it's not like the ETF is like a thing that just stays around. If people don't buy it, the ETF gets dismantled. It happens all the time. Go and look up how rare earth mineral ETFs did outside of gold. Like I'm talking like jade and like diamonds and like,
Yeah, or like tourmaline or something.
yeah, all of them got dismantled except for a couple that are just like, hey, this one gets everything of that and it's barely used. So you could get a Crow ETF and then the people at crypto.com will be like, yeah, we did it. Woohoo. And then like a year goes by and then BlackRock goes, no one liked this. So we're getting rid of the ETF. And everything that you just bet your chips on, you just got cleared out. You just got totally wiped out. And the amount of bearishness that would flood the market from that already floods down. And because you're doing such a bad job in the PR instance, the Web3 community, who would be potentially interested in ETF products from a security standpoint, they're not going to buy your shit.
No.
And also, why would you buy Crow and put it into an ETF when that wouldn't get you the trading discounts on crypto.com? There'd be some reasoning of like, oh, I want to be decentralized and I'll get some centralized cryptocurrency exchange tokens. But like is that going to be enough to keep their ETF around? No, probably
it
not.
feels like the ETF play is an attempt to remain relevant in a world where they've already bought stadiums, arenas, commercial. Like how much bigger can we go, guys? We got to do something. We got to have an ETF, or we got to go
hottest
public.
Marketing buzzword? ETF associated with the name of your company.
Just wait. If Crow lasts another cycle, they're going to pivot to become an AI something company, or maybe they're going to just do like go straight robot.
Well,
like,
the thing is like they'll
robots.
never go away. They're one of those companies that'll just never go away because again, they're a centralized cryptocurrency exchange. So like the token will always exist. The team will always be there. They'll always be spending money on marketing. There are some organizations here that have, broken the matrix and will exist for forever, even if they are never used in any meaningful way.
See, I actually feel like
Crypto.com is.
they're further down that ladder than somebody like Cardano because they're probably a bigger target for a hack. They're probably
for sure.
They're probably also a better target for corruption. Like
they could actually FTX themselves.
they could FTX on a long enough time.
FTX themselves.
They could Celsius.
It's FTX.
You
they
know
could
what
Celsius.
I mean?
They could BlockFi. They could Voyager. They could there are a
They
couple
could
other
Gox.
ones.
You know,
Yeah, they could Mount Gox. And I know this one doesn't work, but I just want to say they could BitConnect.
I just saw that for the first time after you said that. The other
I know.
day at
I
a
was
meeting or
shocked
something.
you
I was
hadn't
like,
seen it.
I'd never seen it. That energy was wild.
That was so hot in 2017.
Listen, if you are here because you got a crypto question, I'm so sorry. You got to put up with our inside jokes, but you too will have good inside jokes to share if you hang out in the cryptocurrency space that all your friends will look at and go, huh? So, we're live Monday through Thursday, 7 a.m. Central Standard Time to answer your crypto questions. We're live Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Central to share expert commentary with the friends of the show, to interview altcoins, research altcoins. And if you've got a crypto question, then leave it in the comments. I definitely also want you to join the Rise Up Discord server. Totally free to jump in there, start hanging out with a global community of learners at all levels of experience. It is a great place to get a second opinion, ask a question, share what you know, or pursue the next step in your learning with a new friend. And it's live 24/7. The only thing missing is you at discord.gg/riseup. Justin says that needs to go on the soundboard. Don't FTX yourself, bro.
Yeah, actually, that's pretty good. Don't FTX yourself, bro.
We got a lot of
solid.
stuff that needs to go on the soundboard. And Will, I think you should. Do you want to give the audience a teaser of the idea you were talking about yesterday regarding
Oh
our
yeah,
show culture and inside jokes?
we had we had our intro. We always have an intro meeting on Mondays and just talking about like, hey, this is what we're working on, blah 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 blah, blah conversations with people, yada yada, and new ideas.
Yeah.
And we were just there, and it struck me because we were talking about the old Faceless Labs NFT set that was on that is still on Multiversus
It's
X.
still there.
That Alex still manages that community, and we were trying to figure out ways that we could just use that NFT set for some sort of community type stuff and things. And I was like, oh hey, what would also be really fun is if we took inside jokes from the Rise Up Morning Show or just any inside jokes and turn them into like a one-of-one NFT that we gave to people who the inside joke was really applied to, like Doug who comes on, like what if Doug there was an NFT of like Doug streaming in the bathroom?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Or like Mike, if Mike who made Logadog on bass, what if he was just like at a hot dog stand like selling hot dogs in New York and there was like some sort of like bass logo or something, I don't know, something, because he works for Base now. Or it's Alex literally dying on a hill.
Literally dying on a hill. Yeah.
Yeah, or it's like
I will absolutely
Evan in like I wrote like Evan doing something peace and lovey. And then it was just Will as a gross like mutant dolphin with a big chin.
Yeah. Imagine, it'd be great to have somebody who is special to the show, who's been part of the culture here. They get a one-of-one.
In Tech CEO, that was the first one I thought. It was Tech CEO being a door-to-door coffee mug salesman. And then like everybody gets like a special one-of-one of that. That's like clearly special. And then if you want to go and like mint for totally for free, like copies of it that clearly aren't the one-of-one, you can go do that or something, we'll figure it out. But it'd just be fun to commemorate and do something to the community that's in relation to like inside jokes from the show, because we have a good amount of them.
Yeah. Welcome back, Alex.
Yeah. Hello, Alex. Oh, your face. Look at you. Man, someone's real cool guy. Look at those sunglasses.
Hey, real quick, Alex, I'd like to get your reaction to the NFTs or the idea of giving people more stuff to do on chain, but I have a really good question here in the audience I'd like to
About
address
the
in a
Flare
second.
thing, that fake airdrop.
Yep.
Yeah.
Is that good? Okay.
Yeah.
Just real quick, if you're on social media, especially if you're an XRP holder, you are going to get targeted with a lot of crap. And one of those pieces of crap is there was this token that was released on the XRP ledger called Flare. It's a expansion of the Ripple network. I don't honestly remember off the top of my head what they do. It's a legitimate token that at one point in time, some of it was airdropped to XRP holders. However, it was airdropped to holders who had XRP tokens as of 2021. Often when people do an airdrop, they do what's called a snapshot, which is when they just go on a blockchain scanner or query from a validator all the active addresses or all the holders of a particular token or whatever other measurable on-chain criteria matters to them. They get that information. They take a snapshot of it in order to send the wallets they snapshot some of their new token. And this happened with the token Flare. And there was a pretty long claim window, but that window has been closed for a long time. Like it's over. But a very common scam that I see here on TikTok, we see it all the time, is somebody will say, hey, make sure you claim the Flare airdrop. Hey, did you claim your free tokens? The Flare airdrop. You're an XRP holder, right? Something like that. And usually what they're doing is they're trying to get you into a DM. They're trying to get you to a scam website where you will compromise yourself by revealing some information you're supposed to keep private or secure, like your seed phrase. You might click a bad transaction or whatever because you think you're going to get some free money. The Flare airdrop is over. Unless you were holding XRP tokens in 2021 or previously, you're not eligible. So remember that, share that far and wide. Almost everybody talking about Flare online right now, in your comments especially, is trying to scam you. Thoughts? Anything to add? No.
Nailed it.
Thank you. Giving myself a ding for that. The only airdrop that has worked for me was the Jupiter airdrop in January. Thanks, John. It's good to see you, brother. There are some good, surprising airdrops out there, but also a lot of crap. Joe says, Evan, that was my last wallet clean out. Oh my gosh, I hate that.
That's tough.
Joe's a great example of somebody though who, you know, fool me once, shame on you, and just like keeps coming back, is really resilient, is never going to be tricked by any of those scams again because she knows what to look for. So way to go, Joe. Joe is an awesome student whose curiosity will take her far. You should be like Joe.
I just saw the comment. Are you sure? I just claimed my airdrop. And I was like,
Uh-oh.
I just claimed my Flare airdrop.
Yeah, it's possible that if you had XRP tokens that far back and were part of the snapshot, I'm pretty sure the claim window has ended. Somebody may have sent you a junk token, but let me double check for the actual Flare. I don't think you can claim them anymore.
Anyway, while you double check on that,
go for it.
there's no like real big macro update for the day, but things that could affect the stock market is Trump and Putin have a phone call. So we'll see what happens there.
Oh, damn.
NVIDIA and Huang keynote speech. And then the Fed policy meeting technically begins today, but we won't hear from Jerome Powell until tomorrow at about 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And that's about it. Oh, and then Trump plans to sign a bunch of executive orders again today. So, I mean, those are the only things that could possibly shake up the market, unless something surprising happens.
I don't think anybody can be surprised into jerky market movements at the signing of more executive orders.
No. I was thinking it would have to be like some kind of real meltdown in between the Trump-Putin call or new tariff news. Otherwise, I don't really look at these major these major events here and see anything in particular that could really shake up the markets in the short term.
I was just going to give a Crypto the Game update real quick. That was the only other thing I wanted to tell you guys about, because last night, your boy got eliminated.
Oh,
But listen to this. Here's the crazy thing about season 3 Crypto the Game. Crypto the Game season 3, it's Resurrection Island, baby, which means, for people who don't know, Crypto the Game is a survivor style competition where 71.6 ETH will be won by one of 700 people who are playing this big game where you solve puzzles, you do challenges online with your tribe mates every day to earn immunity. Everybody who doesn't get immunity at the end of the day votes people out of their tribe until one person takes the whole pot home. Tomorrow is the finale, when everybody who's still alive will make their case for why you, an eliminated player, should vote for me to win the pot. That's how they do it, just like Survivor does. But Resurrection Island was introduced this season, where if you got eliminated during today's challenge, you don't just go home, man. You go to Resurrection Island. And the next day, while everybody's doing the immunity challenge, you are doing the immunity challenge. And one person who achieves success will be restored to the game with immunity. So essentially, last night we went from like 300 players down to 150, but effectively nobody got truly eliminated. And one person from Resurrection Island, where I'm hanging out now, is going to re-enter the game and absolutely get guaranteed a spot in the finals, because no one will be able to vote him out tonight. So getting voted out last night might turn out to be the better strategy, honestly.
well,
It was a lot
I mean,
of strong players that got voted out last night.
It's
and I'm
1 to 149 odds. So
But think about this. A lot of people who went to Resurrection Island, honestly, what I'm seeing on the timeline are like, thanks, it was a good game, it was fun, I'll see you guys later. They're not going to compete. So would you rather be one of 159 people who are in the game, who are like, got to keep playing, not on Resurrection Island, got to make it to the finals? Or would you rather be one of a dwindling pool of 150, could be 120, could be 100 competing for that spot? And at this point in the game, everyone is competing for individual immunity. I would rather be in a pool of 100 people than a pool of 150 people. And here's the other thing. I'd rather have a chance to get immunity tonight. And I want to walk into the final with the story of, I got voted
I was
off. I
on
came
Resurrection
back.
Island. Yeah.
I was on Resurrection Island. You can't get rid of me. You know what I mean? Like, that's the story that people are going to vote for. There's the Blue Tribe. At one point was like 17 people. They were getting small, but they pulled off. They did not get immunity one day, and they pulled off the very first no vote in Crypto the Game history, meaning no vote, no elimination. They decided collectively at voting time, we will abstain from voting. Usually when that happens, you know, somebody will catch a stray vote. One tribe member defects, you know, that kind of thing. There's a bloodbath. Blue, they trusted each other. The incentives were aligned. All 17 people were safe. They did it. It was amazing. No one's ever done this in 3 seasons. The next night, they turned around. They did it again. And last night, everybody from the Blue Tribe was eliminated by all the other people who had like merged into this one tribe. So, I mean, that would be a great story for somebody from the Blue Tribe to be back from Resurrection Island and to say, listen, man, who else played a better game than me this season? Me and my team organized 2 no votes, came back from Res Island. You know, like, what did you do? Hide the whole time? You know what I mean? So it's a social game. It's Survivor, and it's all about who's got the best story. And the story of this season has been coordination, friendship, resurrection, redemption, and you know, the odds are long.
All right, man.
I'm
the
ready.
Odds are long, but if you can pull this off,
yeah.
you got all the marbles.
So the update is I'm going to play
when's
another
the
challenge.
When's the next challenge?
In T-minus 3 hours. Really,
Do you guys
2
get
hours.
any
and
hints
15
at all
minutes.
about the challenges? I imagine they're just totally
I mean,
left
sometimes,
field.
and we're like, you know, notifications for the Crypto the Game team on, man. But it's you're locked in the whole time. It's like 11 a.m. my time. You find out what's happening. And usually then you may not even know what's happening. Then you may have to click around the website to find out. You may have to look around Twitter to find out. It's a on all the time game. So it's been fun, but I'll be glad when it's over because you guys got to play next time. I mean, you'll die, but you got to play.
I mean, I'll totally die. But
I mean, like your schedule will die. You'll make it far, but you'll die.
No. I definitely won't make it that far because my strength. You guys could make it. You're making it far, Evan. I have good crypto knowledge. You guys have great crypto knowledge. I have great financial economic knowledge. So, you know, I'm probably out after the second round.
It's a social game though, man. It's totally a social game. And there are a lot of people who are personality hires who know nothing about even crypto. I won't say nothing. You know the culture. You're here, you're savvy, you're a business person who like does deals all the time. You'd be a great player. And you love dolphins, you know, so you appreciate a good meme.
Your strategy and my strategy wouldn't vibe well though, because I'd just be like fucking people over at some point. I'd be totally just like lying and scheming my way through.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Someone said we need a Discord team. Yeah, if we could enter as Discord, but if they found out we were all playing together, we'd put a big target on our backs.
Well, hey, anything else to touch on? Any other big topics or take some questions from the audience?
I would love to take some questions from the audience, including I see somebody followed up about the Flare airdrops. Oscar Ramos keeps messaging me about claiming the XRP Flare airdrops. Alex is shaking his head because no, he's not. Right? No, he's not. That's a faker. Just block that.
Crush our enemies.
Nobody legitimate will ever send you a DM. This seems like a good time to tell you that these are our only profiles. If you're getting messages from fake Will, from fake Alex, from, you know, fake Coach Ty, from fake anybody you follow online, I say fake because those creators will never reach out to you directly. We're not going to send you a DM for any reason because there are many people who impersonate us who will. They're trying to leverage the trust that we have built to compromise your information, to take your money. They're going to say, hey, how's your trading going? Hey, just checking in on my followers. Hey, are you interested in crypto? Do you want a passive way to earn income? You can make up to $2,000 a week, whatever. It's always a scam. It's never legitimate. Don't trust them. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you guys,
Arigato gozaimasu.
do you see any questions coming in, Will, that you particularly wanted to answer, my friend?
I mean, there's one that's interesting because it's about like the altcoin season myth. And so like I'd like a little bit more context from that to really address it, just to understand a little bit more about what you kind of want us to talk about. But I imagine that it is that altcoin season was a guarantee as a part of the 4-year cycle. And I think what happened was 2 things. One, the ETFs dramatically changed the game, because the money flowed into the ETFs, and when it flows out, it sells. It doesn't really flow into other cryptos. So liquidity of Bitcoin rising didn't have an easy place to then flow and trickle down into your large caps, your mid caps, your small caps, and your incredibly speculative micro caps, if you will. And that's how it worked in the past. And so that's one thing that happened. So liquidity started getting kind of more locked up, if you will, in Bitcoin. And the other thing that happened too is the rise of the meme coin casino. Those pump.fun instances do a really good job at making a very small handful of people a lot of money, but do a really good job also of making sure that most people who get into it lose money. And meme coins have been hot since what, the end of 2023, this cycle? I
Yeah.
mean, like super hot, crazy hot. So people started diving into these meme coins, and so many people got liquidated so very quickly that there wasn't a lot of opportunity for people to make some gains, leave, and go into other things. And again, allow that liquidity to rotate into other areas and allow altcoin season to go up. And the other thing too is you had a lot of people not diving into DeFi coins for the first time and using protocols that earned you interest, that in a very healthy, more constructive, long-term way that an altcoin season needs. A season implies a long period of time. Interest being earned in a healthy way that doesn't liquidate you, right? We saw a lot of people, we saw money increase in DeFi, but it wasn't like DeFi summer in 2020. So we had those three things essentially happen that resulted in less of an altcoin season, more of an altcoin rally that lasted only about 3 months. If we're talking we saw some altcoins do phenomenally from 2023 up until January of 2025.
Yeah, some definitely.
Some did phenomenally. So you
Mhm.
could argue that certain coins obviously had like an altcoin season for themselves. But altcoin season of Bitcoin dominance really falling down in a dramatic way because liquidity flowed into altcoins. For those three reasons, didn't really happen.
Solemn says, only good thing that starts with micro is bikini. Oh my God. Will, we also had another question while we're talking macro. I'd like to maybe speculate a little on altcoin season another time, because we answer that question a whole lot. Like when will it come back? That kind of thing. But we certainly can if you want to. But Justin, I've been neglecting him like, a poor lost child, said, hey, Will, what can we expect out of tomorrow's FOMC meeting? And that's a question I can't answer.
Ooh. Yeah, so tomorrow, the FOMC meeting, and if FOMC means nothing to you, that's the Central Bank of the United States. We refer to it as the Fed, and the guy who is the head of the board is Jerome Powell. So you may have heard his name, you may have heard the Fed. There you go. The central bank sets monetary policy. So if you hear a lot of people talking about interest rates being cut, we need to lower interest rates, that's them talking about the Fed. They control that. The Fed is meeting right now, and they will make a decision about whether or not to cut interest rates again. Tomorrow, they'll announce that. It's about 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. They'll announce it. And what the expectation is no one is really expecting them to cut rates right now.
Not yet.
No, not yet. But the thing is the inflation numbers that we've got were really good. The Fed cares most about inflation and also the economy. They want to balance monetary policy to drive down inflation and to try to create as healthy of an environment for the U.S. economy as possible. So the odds are super, super low. We are not expecting interest rates to be cut tomorrow. No one is. But people are hopeful that because the last inflation numbers we got were so good, that Jerome Powell is going to come out and say some kind of positive thing. The term is called dovish, about interest rate cuts in the future for 2025 and when maybe they could possibly start. And so if he alludes to that, then the markets could have like a little bit of a bump, due to the optimism of future interest rate cuts. And that is optimistic. And I'll close this off. That is optimistic because interest rates being lowered makes it cheaper to borrow money. It's cheaper to borrow money. More money is floating around the economic system. More money is flowing around the economic and financial system. More money goes into things like stocks and Bitcoin and also altcoins, because the more money there is, the better the environment for risk on assets. And that's why we care. Yeah. And that's what we should be expecting. Oh, if you look at Polymarket, they have like a 90% or like an 85% chance right now of the Fed cutting rates in May. And I always kind of had my eyes on summertime, second half of 2025. May is almost into the second half of 2025. So that's what they have their eyes on.
That's interesting. Will, I don't want to make it feel like I'm grilling you, but we actually have another question that I want you to give your feedback on first. But I'd like yours too, Alex, everybody to contribute to this. This is a really good question by our friend Devenzo over on TikTok, who says, and you too in the audience, because this is an everybody play question. Given the rapid rise of AI and automation, how do you think that these technologies will disrupt both the global economy and financial markets in the next 5 to 10 years? It sounds like it came right off of, 60 Minutes. Great question. how is AI and automation going to disrupt us in the next 5 to 10 years? Will, I want you to answer first because I feel like you've got kind of a front row seat to enterprise at scale AI that is currently disrupting life. So what's that going to look like tomorrow and then 10 years from now?
Well, if you just look at automation, you'll have more blue collar and lower middle class jobs go away
Okay.
as automation takes over cashier jobs and manufacturing jobs and all that stuff. You'll have a lot of pushback against that by unions to make sure that there are certain amounts of jobs, but some unions have stronger presences in certain states than others. So keep your eye on a loss of middle class and below jobs due to automation. At the same time, though, profit margins will be super, super high. It'll be good for corporations and all that and efficiencies. And there will be an expansion of jobs for like upper middle class and above to manage those kinds of systems. And that's the same thing for AI as well. Even though you'll have AI at some point writing its own code to build AI solutions, you'll still need human data scientist governance over those processes in order to have some kind of checks and balance. So there'll still be an expansion of jobs there, but it'll be very much so like white collar jobs. So that's something to keep your eyes on. Regarding AI, it's hard to think how it's really going to change things in 5 to 10 years. I don't know, because like AI has been is a term that is so broad now.
Yeah, sure.
That I, as being someone who worked in the AI machine learning space, would tell you companies have been using machine learning protocols for 25 years.
Yeah.
You know,
It's almost like computers. The
Well,
word computers. How are they
yeah.
going to change everything? What is a computer? You know?
Yeah, I don't know. It's impossible to say, but like how I think of AI is like how a business implements a machine learning code to like better operate or personalize their marketing efforts, how it is they go about and decide who gets a loan and who doesn't, how it is they go about and optimize their manufacturing process to reduce waste. That stuff has been going on for years and years and years. And when most people think about AI who never worked in the space, you think about your ChatGPT and you think of Skynet, you know, like I have no idea where AI is going to go. I just know it's going to be a threat to the workforce, but it's going to be a huge boon for profit margins. And I think and this is where I'll end. I think the expansion of automation and AI is going to be an amazing thing for people who are educating themselves on where to invest their money, because it's potentially a big problem in the future, while having all these great, amazing benefits and, you know, using AI to tackle cancer and, you know, all other kind of stuff. But with everything, it's a double-edged sword. I don't know where it's going to go. It's impossible to say. Sorry, I don't have a better answer.
Well,
it's just stupid.
I'm just kidding. I thought it was a great answer. I think it's important to be able to say we don't know what we don't know. We're speculating about the future, though. So let's have some fun about it. Alex, what about you? Do you think we're going to have space robots?
Well, we're also going to have sex robots. But anyway.
I was going to say that, but I was trying to turn my dial down. So
that's got to be that. That'll definitely be the first step.
100% it'll be the first step. There was a Vogue photo shoot with Kim Kardashian and that one robot. The company's name is escaping me, but you know, it's like
Tesla robot.
Is it the Tesla? Oh, maybe it's the Tesla one. They've got one.
Yeah, because they were also like doing the shots on
in a Cybertruck. Yeah.
On a Tesla truck.
Real quick, as I pass the mic to you, Alex, for your take, I just wanted to ding our friend Tech CEO, and I'm going to ding him again because he said he's never been dinged before, and I'm certain he's been dinged on our show for saying, in answer to the question, how will AI and automation change the future, bigly and majorly? I'll ding him a third time. Alex, what do you think?
I would say that I don't know. It's like it's speculation for sure.
Come on, man! It's a speculation show. You got to have 2 or 3 predictions aside from sex robots.
No, that's it.
It's sex robots.
Absolutely. All I know is that, like Will said, the only 2 movies that come out about AI and like robotics are either like, hey, they're taking over the world, or like, hey, you know, how do I have sex with this thing?
You can have sex with it.
While it takes over the world.
Oh my God.
It's a new type of domination.
Listen,
Dominatrix.
to get back to literally anything else.
Yeah.
Don't come for me. God damn it, Evan. I have a hard time, Will, imagining that that blue collar is the first like victim. Just to be very honest, like I think that technology to replace certain blue collar jobs in basic automation for sure sounds like a thing. But like, you know, how long until robots are putting roofs on people's houses seems like a lot further
Longer
along.
than accounting getting automated.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
People
Like,
in
I
the
think
middle.
any number crunching white collar office job to me is way 1,000 times easier to replace with a computer program than something that needs to be outside in the elements doing something and putting things together. I mean,
Yes,
first of all,
but I want to provide a distinction here. Automation and AI are not the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Automation will go after blue collar jobs. AI will go after white collar jobs.
yes, I'm aware. But what
Yes,
I'm saying is that
that's what I was working with in my head.
I would still disagree and say that I don't think you're going to automate away a significant number of blue collar jobs, at least not for a long time. When I think about, and I'm looking at this as a mechanical engineer, lightly. I would not call myself an engineer. I would call myself a mechanic. My entire job was working on multi-million-dollar pieces of equipment that were lightly or moderately exposed to the elements in exactly the way that they were designed to, and they just spent 100% of their time braking. And 99% of my job was just fixing things that were getting broken by getting regular exposure to the task that they were expected to perform. The winch to pull someone out of the ocean was constantly getting replaced and getting worked on. So if I think about jobs that have people out in the elements with machinery, first of all, I can't even begin to imagine how expensive that's going to be and how many companies can afford to replace a workforce with machines that, and I'm sorry to say this, it's just blunt, but it's how their brain works, are way more expensive and costly to maintain than a human being, who they can constantly get away with shortchanging, but you don't get to shortchange a robot. It either works or it doesn't. And I'm sure that there are corners that will be cut, and I have no doubt that things will become more and more and more efficient, that stuff will, you know, get put together, you know, whatever. But we're also in the midst of a pretty significant, or a non-insignificant struggle for rare earth minerals and for chip production and for all sorts of stuff that's required to put these things together. And then, of course, yeah, you couple in, you know, where AI, you know, runs into all that stuff. To me, AI and automation both together are going to come for number crunching, white collar office jobs that are just, you know, various types of accounting or data management. That stuff, you know, you can basically automate with programs that exist right now. I mean, you know, how many jobs can you do, you know, how many persons worth of a job could you do if all you were doing was copywriting right now?
Yeah.
For articles and stuff. I mean, one person could crank out articles that it would take an office full of people a month to do in a couple hours now, which is, you know, bonkers. But like the people pouring asphalt on the highway, you put a robot in that scenario, I can't even imagine how much equipment and how much engineering and whatever, and then how many people are going to have to maintain those things. I just think that's a long, long way off, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't know. I would agree. There are a ton of white collar jobs that'd be super easy to get rid of just because they're just dealing with numbers, and what's better at dealing with numbers? Well, a computer is. But like when I said blue collar, I was more so looking at like retail specifically, not like a mechanical engineer, because the ability to make a robot that has like even just the dexterity of the human hand is very, very far away as compared to something that can just take an order.
You know, we have an interesting comment too about this. Kelly lets us know that she's a court reporter. They're dealing with AI recording, and right now we are licensed by the state. I think a real kind of conflict that's coming in the very short term is going to be those processing jobs that AI could do better, like more accurately, efficiently, like a copywriter, like a recorder, like a reporting, you know, whatever, but which requires some kind of licensure or oversight. One of the jobs I think of is all those people who work for insurance companies or hospitals and work in the middle after your doctor writes you a prescription. and your insurance company's got to like pay for it to, you know, code your visit, write down what you got seen for, classify whether it is or isn't an exception, like those kind of things. But the liability involved with them making a mistake because there's not like infrastructure there for it, I think those will be the first jobs to be disrupted, and also probably one of the first, like, due to disruption, industry-wide crises that we see emerge from like the integration of AI and displacement of humans in jobs. I think it's going to be kind of a flux for a while. Like AI could probably do those jobs well now. We don't have the infrastructure to oversee them. What if they make a mistake? They're going to make a mistake. It's going to cost a lot. Some company who moves first is going to get a lot of backlash for it. Other companies are going to innovate a solution and probably move past those companies that are too scared, biting their nails, don't want to get burned again. I think it's going to create a lot of churn and displacement in a lot of industries.
Yes, I gotta go.
Tell me a final thought.
Tell me why.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Alex. Sorry, I gotta go.
William Watson, thank you very much. We'll see you tomorrow.
Bye, guys.
And you know, it's kind of like what Charlie said last time, Alex. Ideas. It makes ideas more valuable when execution is cheap, when processing power is cheap, when it becomes cheap, efficient, and it's everywhere. What will we value? We're going to value people on a radio show like this, where you just never know what Will is going to say next or what sound effect is going to come out of the board on accident. And that's why I think people will crave more than ever a human touch. So if you've got a final question for a human, a good joke, a suggestion, a word of wisdom, or a joke, then leave it below in the comments or save it for the Discord. If you haven't joined the Discord yet, what the heck are you doing? Oh my gosh, get over there. It's totally free to join. We've got great resources, tips, tricks, tutorials, and a very friendly community of learners at all levels of experience that you can start learning with on your crypto journey wherever you are. The only thing missing is you. The links are on the screen. And we'll give a final thought. We'll be there in a minute. I'm going to post some links from the show today. I'll post the Solana commercial if you want to see it. I'll post FAQ about the Flare token, and we can dream about the future there together. So, Alex, you got a final thought for us? A question, suggestion, good joke, word of wisdom before we ride our dogs and ponies into the sunset?
I don't think so. I think
You're tired, man.
I mean, yeah, you know, I know we covered it at great length in the beginning, but yesterday was just real disappointing, I thought, in the grand scheme of things for the industry. I think it's a multi-point disappointment for the industry in a time when I think like we really need to be trying harder to focus on the things that we give a shit about. You know, the projects and the ecosystems and the networks and the tokens and everything in the industry that you think is like important, that doesn't make you unhappy, is just getting pushed farther and farther and farther onto the back burner. And you know, I'm truly not trying to doomsay, but it's possible to push these things back to a point of no return, you know, especially if we kind of all collectively decide like, well, this is all just really about money and really truly nothing else. Or at least, you know, the part that is the else is just so small that they're just going to get choked out. I mean, it's a very different, I just think we're running the risk of altering the landscape. And it genuinely like upsets me and worries me. The number of people that I've had like in comments who are just like getting real unhappy about the state of government and how they're handling this and how this isn't what they thought it was going to be and how everyone said it was going to be amazing. And I'm like, I don't know. I feel like I've been screaming into the void about how bad politics was going to be for crypto for a pretty long time. But I don't know. I just think my final thought would be, if you can think of something that you can do as a human being, as an individual, to like help put a little bit of attention back on the stuff that you think matters, you should be doing that. And yeah, because I know it's going to get lost. That doesn't mean go spend all of your money on tokens that you believe deserve to be expensive. That's not at all what I mean. I would say think aggressively about what you can do besides buying crypto to help shine a brighter light on stuff that matters instead of constantly giving your attention to the worst shit in the industry and the worst people in the industry.
I saw you from bullish to bearish. Alex DeVenzo says, we've been here with you for a long time. And Jay Heat says, the sigh says it all. We knew where you were going with that. The second you said, and I'm glad that's where you took it, because it doesn't end at the tired, because we push through it. We uplift the good stuff, and we're here to tell a better story, man. Like, we're not going anywhere, and you don't have to go anywhere either. Like, yeah, there's a lot of crap, but you know, we can all play a part in making this place that we share a little better. That's what we love about it, right?
I know because I've seen it happen. I've seen it happen anecdotally, and I've seen it happen on a bigger scale than most people are aware of. This technology really, truly has the potential to radically change a lot of people's lives. And it barely costs anything to implement for them. It literally only costs some time and somebody who gives a shit. It can make such a, that commercial with the payment, that is such a the number. How many times have you heard somebody complain about how ridiculous some money guardrail is to do with their banking or some sort of payment system, or how steep the vendor fees are to accept Venmo or PayPal payments for your small business? But you know, you can't afford to do this, and your bank doesn't accept this, and there's tax implications for this, and your bank account's not quite the right type of account to accept this kind of transfer. And the taxes are just a nightmare to keep a hold of, and you can't afford an accountant. All this crap, like all these things go away with peer-to-peer stablecoins, for example.
Yeah, one example, a good example.
Yeah. There's just so many ways that it can make such a big difference. And I'm truly not, like, you know, from bullish to bearish. Long term, I'm a hyper bull on the tech. And I mean, I can't even begin to imagine how hard it would be to kill the whole thing. I just think it's going to look different. And I think that the road to get there is not what it could be. And I think that too many people are going to see this and only pay a little bit of attention. And because of how much work is being done on behalf of creators to amplify exclusively the garbage crap that they think is going to get them the most engagement, that means people are just going to be getting the wrong idea constantly, which selfishly makes my job harder. But you know, unselfishly, it's just bad. It's just bad for the industry, you know? So, you know, like, for example, my final example would be, if you want to talk about the role that politics could play in all of this, if you have people who claim that their platform or the reason that they ran for whatever office was truly to, like, help the little guy, if that person is not actively advocating for decentralized finance solutions for people, they're not properly advocating for people. And I think a lot of them really just either, one, don't have the time, or they don't have the inclination to, like, dig into it and learn, because they get a surface level bad picture of what DeFi is, because bad storytellers. So I don't know if I just rugged.
Yeah, but you're back. You're back.
Anyway, that's it. It's just like, you know, anyone who calls themselves a progressive or a libertarian should be actively campaigning for DeFi. And the fact that they're not tells you all you need to know about the place that the industry is in, and the story being the general public perception. So, you know, I am very passionate about it, which is why I plan to go to DC and just try to do it myself. Just go talk to them ourselves.
Yeah, stay tuned for that. Stay tuned for that. We do have a lot of commenters who are saying, wait, I missed it. What happened yesterday? Go back, watch the show on YouTube, because you really want to catch the gem that this is a full circle conversation. We started reviewing the PR crisis that the Solana blockchain as a whole, because of the decisions that their foundation made, is suffering. And it'll be over soon, but they launched a bad commercial. Everyone who works in crypto saw it and is talking about it. and it's divisive and polarizing, and not what the crypto space needed. And it was fun to roast. We had a good time, but as always, we're bringing it back to, this is a reminder that all of us are responsible for telling a better story. That's the most important thing anybody here can do. It's up to all of us. And all of you in the comments are making a really good case for why it's great to do it together. We love getting to do it with you. I do have a couple of final thoughts though. One of them is a riddle from Jessica. What has 4 legs in the morning, 3 in the afternoon, and 2 in the evening? I hope I read that correctly. I'm reciting it from memory. Do you know what the answer is, Alex? The answer is apparently, I'll let you think about it, humans. I don't get it. Is it a 4 legs in the morning? Humans. I don't get it. Why do we have 4 legs in the morning?
Yeah, I get it. Sorry, that's a classic.
Can you explain it to me?
The day, the morning, the afternoon, and the evening is it's a metaphor for your lifespan, and you start off crawling on all 4s, and then you transition to walking on both legs, and then you have a cane when you're older, and you walk on 3. In the evening.
So I read it backwards. That's interesting. Okay. That's very deep.
That's a classic. I forget where I heard that one first, but it's been years, many years.
Man, that's like a deep. I need to be on a different state of consciousness to be like given the answer to that riddle. Buy the mug, sell the rug. And somebody got the riddle. I love that. I'm tuning in from my car today, Rebecca says, and I love that you guys are always being fun. A fun buffet, I think, of info is what this is. And that was a very creative. Babies crawl, adults walk, seasons of life. You guys all got it. You guys are all sharp. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, we love you. We're so glad you're here. Go, if you missed it, check out the episode on YouTube. It'll be up shortly after this in the live playlist. Thank you very kindly for the St. Patrick's gifts. And then check us out in the Discord. I'm going to post the commercial there. I'm going to put some supporting links there, and Alex and Will and I will be around. I will not be around in about 2 hours, though, when I fight for my life on Redemption Island. So you're on a literal island. I'm on a sort of island, dark night of the soul, but we are together, all of us. Until next time, my friends, we'll be back tomorrow. Stay safe. Be well, everybody.